the study and the report, we use 3 case studies. They are intended to reveal the challenges of industrial policies, digital industrial policy at this time, including the geopolitical challenges. And so the 3 examples are the chips, the cloud, and the digital identity, but it's also applicable to other areas. Now, chips, semiconductors, is interesting because it's most advanced in industrial policy terms. The EU Chips Act, for example, has regulatory actions to correct market failure. It has investment. It has cooperation. It also recognizes wisely that the EU cannot go alone, and so you have to, for example, also use transatlantic cooperation. But what it didn't really foresee is how strongly actually geopolitics is driving chips, and how much the impact will be if also other countries are starting to develop a strong industrial policy for semiconductors, which they do. So you have not only the EU Chips Act, there's the US Chips Act. There are massive investments in Japan, in Korea, in Taiwan. Very recently also a massive announcement in China. And we have to be realistic about it, that this leads to things like subsidy races. And we want to avoid that. So that would be wasting money, that would be inefficient, that would be leading potentially to protectionism. Whereas it's, as I said before, it's recognized that in semiconductors, we actually need to work together at least with like-minded partners. So subsidy races are not hypothetical, they are here. And the EU industrial policy in chips has to be able to respond to that. And I don't think that that has been fully foreseen. And then also we should not be naive about what the impact is of let's say, the global marketplace when there's a possibility for mergers and acquisitions and the takeover of companies. It might actually be that Europe has been investing a lot in development of advanced technologies and the intellectual property that comes with that, but then these companies are going to be taken over by other states, by third states, and that we are losing actually the longer term benefits of this knowledge. So in a fully open global market economy, you might say, well, that's a good thing because that creates efficiencies, etc. But in the longer term perspective, it may not always be a good thing. So we have to have at least some mechanisms to protect intellectual property, to ensure that companies are doing a good business in Europe, but that they're not necessarily leaving Europe. So mechanisms that can be mobilized there include, for example, golden shares, so that companies, that there is a greater control on foreign direct investment mergers and acquisitions.